I know for me, I listen to a lot of different readers, and because of that, sometimes it can cause doubt because there are not everyone will tell you the same thing, and so that alone can confuse you. But you have to realize that when they read, they're reading for the collective. So it's a lot of different energies, and so you may need to take a break from social media or listening to readings. Um, if you are someone who has cards, do a reading for yourself. And with that, you have to trust your intuition. If you trust your intuition and you believe that what you're pulling for yourself is accurate, especially if the same thing keeps coming out, even if readers are saying something that's completely opposite from what you're getting, I would advise going with what you're getting because they may be picking up on someone else's energy. And so doesn't necessarily mean that what you're pulling for yourself is wrong. So this is just more confirmation. I feel like this is a very caring connection. I feel like this person is your happy place. You may also be worried about just messing things up because you are still healing, and so you don't want to bring the past with you into this new situation. And I feel like that's where that victim mindset comes in because you may have been in that Eight of Swords energy in the past um, with your past relationships. And so I feel like you're out of that mindset. You just don't want to go backwards. And so right now, you're planning or you're coming up with ways to move differently than you were in the past. And I feel like, again, this message is a follow up to the last message where we talked about communication. So things like that, you're putting in efforts to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward this time. Because it does, you may have been dealing with karmics in the past, but you realize that there were things that you could have also done differently. And so I feel like you're applying those things to these new connections, but you're also still standing your ground and you're just being patient or you're being advised to be patient. Don't try to rush things. So, final messages we got bonfire. It represents remembrance, and so it reminds me of something that I saw recently um, about remembering who you were before things got bad. And even yesterday, um, I've been saying how I need to focus more on the good memories instead of the bad ones because I have depression, but I have high functioning depression, and so I'll go until I can't go anymore, and then the depression will just hit and it'll put me on my ass. Usually for like I don't know the time frame it varies, but I feel like that's also where that victim mindset comes from. I feel like we realize everything that we've accomplished, everything that we overcome, but with healing, there are still things that you grieve because, like I've said before, a lot of connections that you had to end were connections that you thought would never end. And so you have to heal from that and everything that those experiences, all the damage that those experiences cause. And it's not easy, but I feel like that's what you're being advised to do. Focus more on the good times and the good things. And I feel like that'll also help with allowing healthy connections to come in and recognizing that, again, they're not like what you've been through. And so, collective, that is the message. I hope that it resonated and that it brought clarity and answered any questions that you may have had. I appreciate your love and support. I love you guys for it. And until next time.